podcast is Wrestling Daft and is scheduled for 1 hour. Maybe more. It has no real time limits, making their way into your ears. First, from a place called Barneston, he is the Pyramid. Rob Florence!
It's going to be the funniest show ever because I'm all about the comedy and the money, baby.
How much you gonna pay?
And his partner, the top end of Stevenson.
From Mexico City to Beef Community Centre, I've got stories that are going to blow your mind.
Hello and welcome to Wrestling Daft, and as you can hear, card is always subject to change. I am John, usually producing the show. Unfortunately, our friend, Mr. Rob Florence, Mr. 11 himself, cannot be here today because he's filming his brand new sitcom, The Scots. So he was rained off, so he couldn't do the podcast, so he sends his apologies. However, we are, as ever, joined by the Stevenson Dream himself, Mr. Graham Staveley, aka Grado.
John, it's great to be here. We're recording this a Wednesday night. I've just moved up to Glasgow. I'm going to be in Glasgow for the foreseeable, filming something. So I'm in digs just now. I've just came here about an hour ago. Obviously, Rab, I came what it's like, man, because filming with the rain and stuff like that, especially if he's doing, he might be talking shite. He could be making it up, but I know what it's like when they're filming rain in the exterior.
Yeah.
The exterior, and then they need to kind of wait and stuff like that. But it's a bad excuse. However, we'll batter on through. We've got things to talk about.
That's what
I'm
happens
sure
with wrestling.
If you want me to tell you a wee story, John, just give me the eggy.
I'll do that, Grado.
I'm in the mood.
You're in a. We're currently, if you're watching the video version of this, of course, you can get that patreon.com/wrestling daft. You can see that Grado is in a room. He's set up his laptop in a cupboard, and he's now sitting on a high chair with his microphone on top of a set of drawers. So it's
a
little bit different this week.
It's going to be. It's all right, man. Do you know what? I'm in the mood for telling me stories and what have you, because I feel like I'm on the road.
Oh, does it take you back to the TNA days, does it?
Oh, it takes me back to being in Florida, man. Meeting the guys at the Miller Ale House, sitting reading Abysses texts for Hulk Hogan, stuff like that. I miss it.
Instead, you're filming two doors down, so you're getting Alex Norton and Jonathan Watson's phone and that, and reading their texts instead, and saying to Jonathan Watson, go and do Graham Souness, go and do Alex Ferguson.
Well, that's the first time that I ever got the chance to date with Johnny. It was like, I'm always getting in trouble with folk for marking out. I love it. It was the same way, like, did I ever tell you about what I done with Karen Dunbar?
No, please don't tell me you went up and said, are you going to do that or something like that?
Right, so we were the folk that make Scott Squad, Joe Hillette, we made a pilot called Barrylands, right, for BBC. Okay. And it was about, my character was a guy that inherited his granddad's money, and his granddad told him just before he died that he should take you to the local fun park, right?
Right.
It was a thing called Barrylands. I was called Barry, and Karen Dunbar was playing my mom. And so it was only one day of filming, right? Because it wasn't even a pilot; it was a taster tape. It was just a couple of scenes that we kind of ran, and this was the first day I met Karen Dunbar, and she sitting more kind of going over lines and all that, just about to take the a wee take, and just again, as soon as she was about to about to go for it, I just went, "They're a school teacher," and she went, "What?" And I was like, I used to date myself when I was young. My mom used to get me to date in front of her pals when I was in primary 7. I go, "Well, just do it." And she went, Are you kidding me on? Are you kidding? And then I actually got a mega beamer, and I was like, why did I do that?
Karen Dunbar.
I've done that with him.
Yeah, I've never met Karen Dunbar, but Karen Dunbar strikes me as the kind of person that doesn't suffer fools gladly. You know what I mean?
She doesn't miss and hit the wall, I'll tell you that.
Right. Listen,
but she's brilliant, but she is brilliant.
Yeah, is she a wrestling fan?
I don't think so. No, but she's fair, sure.
Of Well, that's good. You had something in common. Let's crack in. A lot of correspondence after last week's show. Grado, I need to ask you, we had a random run-in. If you haven't checked out last week's episode, go and check it out. One of the best run-ins we've ever had. Random run-in. We just said, we put it out on Twitter. Click this link if you want to do the run-in. And it was answered by British veteran wrestler, I think that's a fair description, Sabotage, who you knew from the SWA days. What has the reaction from the boys been this week to the run-in?
Oh, I've been getting plenty of texts. I've been ever since we recorded that, right? I know we've had a couple of tweets and people going, I love this shit, I love it. This is what it's all about. More folks should be like it and stuff like that. But I was getting paranoid, man, because he didn't miss and hit the wall. Big Sabby he doesn't fuck about. And just after I done it, I felt, I was like, I don't know, man, because this is folk that I've known for years, but I can't deny that it was fucking hilarious. And here's the thing, John, I knew he was going to be like that. So, we done that Zoom run-in a couple of weeks ago with a guy who came on and it wasn't even a wrestling fan. He was just like, how you doing? Well, just at the last kick of the ball, Sab had entered the room and I wasn't prepared for it because I knew that's what he would. I knew he would come on and start fucking absolutely burying folk.
Shooting
and it was just by chance he came in again. So I was like, get Big Sab on. But you know what? Sab was amazing with me because he right when I first started wrestling, there was like he came up and trained us and stuff like that. And I kind of went on the road with him and Conscience. And as a wee guy, man, 15, 16-year-old, it was like, this is the best, you know what I mean? Because he was also the first guy that came up here, in my opinion, in a lot of years, that actually looked like a wrestler. We would go into, as I said last week, we'd go into the kebab shop and they would shout Undertaker and he'd wear his gimmick outside. And I just thought he was cool as a cat. And then obviously, I think Shamer told the story as well that we went to his wedding. Did we tell the story about going to his wedding?
No. So Sabotage was at Shamer's wedding. That's Coach Trip for anyone that doesn't know.
So Coach Trip, me and Coach Trip were invited to Sab's wedding, right?
Right.
We were the only boys that were invited, and so I'm sure I feel as if I've told this story. Maybe I haven't. I know Adam will be listening, going, "Don't tell this." But we so it was in the middle of nowhere. It was a lovely big old Scottish castle-y kind of church,
right?
And so we went, right, and Sab got married and stuff like that, and he says, right, let's go to he's gone to the wedding reception. We're like, fucking right, we're going to the wedding reception. So we jump in Coach Trip's motor and we see the minister pull it. I'm like, this is the minister, follow him, he'll be going to the reception. So we follow him. This is before sat navs or anything like that, and we're honestly, this is talk about Inverness, right? This was like, we're going out of these bendy roads, country roads, following this minister. Gets to about fucking 45 minutes, what that? We fucking, sure he's definitely gone to the reception. So we follows him into this wee tune and he turns into a drive and we're like, right, hold on. So we followed him into a drive. The minister comes busting out his car. What he's doing? What? You know, got to the reception. He goes, no, I'm going fucking home. We followed him home. It took us about fucking. It took us. Well, where the hell are we? So there was no way. Sab phoned us and was like, "Where are you?" And we felt terrible, but literally we were in the middle of nowhere. We didn't know where we were, and we had to get up the road. But it was. I'm glad we actually made the wedding because he's great, and his wife Abby's brilliant as well. And the Wangies got as well. They're brand new. So anyway, what's the reaction been like to anyway?
The response has been pretty positive for Sam. Basically, to come. We had to. I have to admit, on the group chat, on the Wrestling Daft group chat, me, Gab, and Radio were going back and forth, going, right, we have to edit this bit. We have to edit that bit. So the litigious stuff ended up on the cutting room floor. So
we had to, man.
Oh God, we'd have been sued.
Oh man, it really was quite, but.
I don't even trust our patrons with it. I don't even trust our patrons with it. That's how much I was like, oh shit. No, we'll have to leave it the cut room floor. David Wilson, wrestling photographer extraordinaire, got in touch and said, basically, I thought I could shoot on folk, but Sabotage absolutely murdered folk without blinking on this week's Wrestling Daft. I doff my cap to Sab. There's been a murder. Eddie says, thank you. As someone who attends some of the Matt Busby SWA shows, Sabotage run-in it was absolutely spectacular. Stephen also adds, can we put over Sabotage on the run-in from this week's show? Absolute legend, and the honesty was amazing. Wrestling needs more people like that. So,
Aye, do you know what? Aye, he doesn't. Listen, it was. There's loads of things I'm always wanting to say on it, but I'm too feared. Sabotage isn't feared.
It didn't fuck about. An update on the George Square Loyal Rumble. Grado, we were talking about on last week's show. The Rangers supporters going down to George Square for a bit of a celebration, a bit of a rammy, which was nicknamed the Loyal Rumble. We had people there like Kevin Sash and what have you, King Billy Gunn and all that. The Marillion says he heard, this is just rumours, Grado, you maybe can confirm these, that the Loyal Rumble, the fans have split into the RFC Hollywood and the RFC Lana Wolfpack. Can you confirm this has happened between the Rangers supporters?
Listen, I'm no touching any of this. You and Rab can take the piss out of this. I'm touching F all.
Right, okay, we'll move swiftly on from that then. Billy, remember Billy? Billy infamous on this show for finding out about 9/11 via Family Guy. He's been in touch and he has hit me up with the weirdest fucking wrestling clip I have seen in a while. Picture this, I'm going to play it out in a minute. A man dressed as E.T., yes, that's right, extraterrestrial Steven Spielberg, E.T., basically pretending to be Stone Cold Steve Austin. Do you want to see it?
Of course, Baron.
Cause you know Stone Cold E.T. like to come to White Castle or a couple of cheeseburgers to fill me up before I whoop some ass. Give me a hell yeah if you're down with Stone Cold E.T. Oh, hell yeah! Cause Stone Cold E.T. likes whooping ass. When Stone Cold E.T. rides a bicycle, I ride it long, I ride it hard, just like the Texas rattlesnake when he's done whooping Vince McMahon's ass. Give me a, oh, hell yeah. What'd you say, E.T.? What? What'd you say, E.T.? What? I said I want to order 2 cheeseburgers, and that's the bottom line. Cause no Stone Cold love a little White Castle burger with a little onion.
That is the most fucked up thing I've seen in a long while.
Do you know what we need to do? We need to get there's a wrestler called Bobby Roberts, and he wrestled in ICW for a while, and he done the Stone Cold gimmick. If he's listening, message John to come on because you need to hear his impersonation of Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's shit hot. He's brilliant. Right. It's just a shout out to Bobby Roberts.
Yep, get Bobby Roberts tagged in this week's show, and we'll get Bobby on next week. But E.T. Stone Cold, fuck knows how it is, but
I'm sure he's pro too.
He'll definitely be pro too. One of our patrons, Chris Barrett, has got in touch about 2 Doors Down, and the subject is entitled "My 2 Doors Down Panic." I hope Grado can help. He says, the other week, me and my wife started rewatching in my case, 2 Doors Down from the start. She's been absolutely loving it, laughing her head off and really enjoying the characters. I'm scared though. We're just getting to the middle of Series C and I know Grado is ready to come in very soon and it's starting to panic me. What happens if my wife doesn't like Alan or worse, still say something mean about Grado himself? She's already said she doesn't like Gordon as much as Jazz, so I know she could be cold to newcomers. I'm hoping I'm wrong to worry, as surely everybody loves Grado, but have you got any advice for me if she does start laying the boot in? How would you like me to defend you to her?
Right, well, it's kind of, alarm bells are ringing a wee bit, right, because I love the character Jazz in 2 Doors Down, right? But Gordon, the guy that plays, do you watch 2 Doors Down, John?
Yes.
Right, Gordon's brilliant in it.
Aye.
He's amazing. So that alarm signal's already ringing. By the way, see, do you know what the weirdest thing is, right? I never done any episodes with Jazz, right? But how weird is this, right? Mind I was on Endeavour.
Yes.
And I was playing a wrestler who was trying to, well, I was a gay wrestler accused of killing an Indian takeaway driver.
Yes.
Well, we had to film some wrestling scenes. And it was, long story short, basically Jazz was one of the wrestlers. I mean, he had like 2 lines, but it was the weirdest thing because I'd never done anything with him in 2 Doors Down. But he was in a tag team that we filmed earlier on the day, so we had to kind of like, smart them up to things and show them how to bump and show them how to whip and stuff like that, which was interesting. But anyway, if your bird doesn't like me, if you doesn't fancy me, please don't let me know, because I'll take it the wrong way.
Right, okay, there's your... So whatever happens, Chris, don't let Grado...
Let me know if she thinks I'm alright.
Yeah, if she goes, oh, that's the best performance I've ever seen, that's my favourite Studios game character, put Grado over. If she's going to bury him, though, no, just...
I can't take it. If he says that, I ruined it or whatever, fuck, I'll be crabbit.
Yeah, right. There's the advice, Chris. Now, have you heard about John Cena this week, Grado? He may have started an international incident.
Well, I saw, because obviously in the mornings when I'm looking for stuff for the breakfast show, John Cena was trending, and I thought, he's maybe back on the wrestling, but I understand that he called Taiwan a country. Taiwan isn't a country, it's like an island of China, isn't it?
Yeah, it's part of
China.
Like
the way Aaron is to Scotland.
So basically, Chris has been in touch to say that John Cena perhaps is setting up a match with the Democratic Republic of China at SummerSlam. If you haven't heard John Cena's apology, let's hear it now as John Cena apologises to China.
有一个错误，所有人问我，如果我可以用中文，处理剧情中人给我。
How impressive is that?
How's he managed to do that?
I don't know.
I mean, he's doing it like...
Right, come on, he's got to sign off.
He's not learned that. He's not learned that in half an hour, is he?
很重要，我爱更尊重中国，更中国人。我很抱歉。
Jesus, mate, and I'm just looking at the stuff on Twitter. He's getting mega heat for it, huh?
对不起，我很抱歉。你必须了解，我。
Unbelievably cowardly, people were writing to him. Wow.
There you go, John Cena. That is impressive, but I'm very disappointed that he didn't sign off with "You Can't See Me." And that would have topped.
How do you know he never said that?
That's a very I don't know that, but he would have done the hand signal if he.
Right, okay.
I don't think it's very appropriate if you're making an apology right enough to sign off with "You Can't See Me, China." See you later. Drop mic.
It's weird because it just doesn't seem. Cena's usually the geezer that can be trusted with stuff like that. But I mean, see, honestly, that's just.
That would biff you. You can handle that, Grado. You cannot handle that.
No.
So there you go. Cena versus China at SummerSlam this year. Potentially a match set for that. Back to a couple of weeks ago, your Matt Riddle, Grado. We'll need to get in a minute, see if you've got a Matt Riddle for this week. But lots more people have been back in touch with wrestling-related names, right? So Colin Mackin, apologies, Colin, we didn't read this one out last week. He named his son Vincent Mackin. So with Vince McMahon in mind. So basically all his pals at school call him Vinnie Mac. So that's no decent. In fact, Collins goes further. He says, we were at a show in Greenock in 2017 that Grado was at. I managed to speak to someone and we got the whole crowd to sing happy birthday to him. I tried to get a picture with him and Grado, but he was rushing in late while the show had already started with a luggage bag.
It's me.
He'd just come off a plane and couldn't be fucked talking to anyone. Little did he know, he just brushed off little Vinnie Mac himself.
Well, that makes me feel like shit.
So, do you want to say anything to Vinnie Mac now?
Of course I do. But you know what? I don't think I ever got to a Greenock show on time. Quite a lot of the time as well, I was double booked. So I'd maybe have had a show for W3L in Glenrothes or something at 4 o'clock, and then they've put me on early so that I can get to the show in Greenock. But I can't believe I kayfabed young Vinnie Mac. So Vinnie Mac, wee man, apologies for what I done in 2017. Next time I'm at a show, I'll
sing happy birthday to you.
Do you know what? It's funny, right? No, but seriously, if he is listening, Vinnie Mac, I'm sorry for doing that day. I was probably running a bit like a blue ass fly getting in, and I was probably on, because Ross would maybe sometimes kind of wind me up and go, but I've got you on first half main, so it wasn't even that I had time to wait because I was main eventing. So, but apologies for that. But you know what? I remember one time I had to my Grado inbox used to be open on Facebook, right?
Oh,
and I could get messages all the time. And I remember one time I wrestled in Greenock. This was a couple of years before that, but I decided I'm going to look at my messages. I've not done it in a couple of days, and I got this big screed that was on the Friday night, and it was a woman that had said she had sent her a message on a Friday saying, "Hi, is there any chance my nephew, it's his birthday tomorrow, would you be able to get in the ring and shout happy birthday to him and all this, right?" And then obviously I had never seen it. And then on the Sunday, I read her message and she wrote, "I can't believe you heard my nephew was in tears. You never said happy birthday to him." And I was like, and really, it fucking mega upset me because, well, one, what I would have done was I would have went, you know what, wait behind the show and I'll make sure I'll get a picture with him, stuff like that. But a lot of people, sometimes happy birthday shout outs are hard to do when you're wrestling. Like, yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, so, when you're trying to get the crowd, you know, main event, and you know the music comes on, and then and I get in the ring, and then I go, right, I just need to say happy birthday someday. It takes away, it totally fucking,
it breaks kayfafe.
It just hoovers the atmosphere right out of it. But I would never have. But if I had read the message, I would have said, "Look, I gave my signed heart, a signed picture and stuff like that." But that kind of, I thought, you know what, I can't deal with this anymore because she made me. I felt like shit because I'd never done it. But at the same time, I'm going, what the fuck, you know what I mean? Halfway through, I'm blowing a comeback and I'm glad to the ring announcer. He's like, hold on, by the way, happy birthday to Nathan, he's 7. Happy birthday. It doesn't work.
Maybe there's a character in that though, Grado, like, because obviously you're a star of panto as a star of wrestling. Maybe you could combine the two. So let's just imagine, you know, you come out, you throw sweeties at the crowd to get them on side. You know, you could have, you know what, it'd be a dynamic. You could have a heel face dynamic with like the bad guy and the heel. You know, in the middle
we've done it. We done it with Shy at the Pavilion when Grado's big first, the family wrestling bashing. We had we were in the is it the Gods they call them? I can't quite remember.
Yep.
You know, the Royal Boats and stuff like that.
Aye.
And he was on. It was honestly one of the best things that we ever done together. He was in one side. The spotlight was on him. The spotlight was on me in the next one. He was cutting the heel promo. I was cutting the babyface promo. And at the end, when I shouted, "It's yourself," I had a big fight. I had like about 40 packets of Haribo. Throwing them in the crowd and then I'm going nuts. Honestly, it can be mega combined.
Yeah, I do it. Sit in the middle of a suplex, you hold them up, do birthday shout outs. Happy birthday to wee Vinny, happy birthday to Jimmy.
But by the way, what a cool name, wee man. What a cool wee name.
At the start, when you're doing the entrance, you bring down the words and everyone can sing your theme tune. It's a fucking winner, I'm telling you. Anyway, more names coming from you, Grado, on Grado's Matt Riddle. Willie says, right, worked with a guy a year ago called Jake Roberts. I had no idea who he was always so I always gave him a short arm clothesline at break, and he'd always reply, "Wayne Wank, Doug's your prick." Legend of a man.
And he had no idea who the actual Jake Roberts was.
No, and he did get clotheslined, and the boy had no idea. I'm not too sure about this one, but Andy weighs in. I said, I used to work in Our Price with a lad called Chris Stratus. That's Chris Stratus. Around the same time, my mate Nick had an erotic rendezvous with a lass called Helena Sell. Like his name's sake, he too got tossed off. All true. Won't hear a word against either claim.
What are you thinking? Helena Sell?
I don't think it's true. I don't think it's true, but it's a good effort, Andy. Have you got a Matt Riddle we can give it throughout for next week, Grado, or will we think?
Wait till we see here. Wait till we see. I'm trying to think.
Well, I tell you what, do you know what we haven't done, Grado? We haven't done the punning sometime, and I know there's a few people want to see the punning come back. So that's a good shout. Why don't we do wrestling locations for next week for the punning?
Oh, that's a good one, John. Right, wrestling locations.
Punning next week. So wrestling, it could be a city, it could be a country, it could be an area of Scotland, it could be a suburb in Scotland. Take a wrestler, make it into a wrestling location. That's your punning for.
Getting into the new.
What's that? I can't off the top.
Kelly and Dane.
Kelly and Dane Marnock. I like it. Brilliant. Yeah. Brilliant. There must be an air one. Glasgow. Oh, listen. The listeners will come up with the goods. I have no.
Air Paris.
Yeah. Right.
All right. Cool. Right. I'll get on that.
We'll come back to that one. So get in touch with that if you want. Any of that stuff I've just talked about, get in touch with us. Twitter at Wrestling Daft, on Insta Wrestling Daft Podcast, or go on Facebook.
Oh, London.
Right, okay. We're off to a start. Or you can email wrestlingdaft@gmail.com. Every week on Wrestling Daft, we look at the good and bad of wrestling. You know, the UK's Eurovision entry compared to Italy's entry. Did you watch Eurovision, Grado?
See, the boy, what did you call him again?
The boy that was doing lines of, the boy that looked like he was doing lines of gear.
Well, I saw
The
that.
LA boy.
I was more worried about.
tested.
I was more worried about the geezer that was representing Britain. What the fuck? He was had a big viscera coat on.
James Newman, I. He did. Did you see there was a lot of wrestling Twitter went a bit mental for Germany's entrance because there was someone dressed as a hand. So everyone was saying, "This is what happened to me, young's fucking child."
Oh, that's good, pal. That's good. That's
So,
good. See the Finland song? I only saw a wee bit. The Finland song reminded me of like a pure mid-2000s WWF pay-per-view theme.
There was a couple in there like that. It was a couple in there like that. But I was some good tunes on it. But I know the UK one was pretty shite. What are you burying and putting over this week, Grado?
I'm no. Look,
so let's just talk documentaries.
The documentaries, right?
Warrior clip.
Warrior documentary on Sunday was amazing. This is the best time. See the new. This is the best time. The new series documentaries coming out on a Sunday and a Thursday. You've got the Dark Side of the Ring and the biography. They're superb. I sent you a wee clip, didn't I?
Yeah.
Vince McMahon back when he was getting. There's great footage of Warrior getting told to apologise to a Wayne that he kind of.
I wonder if let's. I've got that clip here. Let's play it because I think this is one of the most unbelievable wrestling clips. Because Warrior, you only ever saw Warrior in character. There's not much footage of Warrior out of character, is there? And Grado sent this clip from the documentary, which is absolutely blew my mind the other day. So let's play this just now.
But not in the Warriors character.
Well, I mean, I'm humbly apologizing, but I'm not saying what I'm humbly apologizing for.
That's
right. I know what the gimmick's for, but I mean, what's it for?
In 3, 2.
I understand that there comes times in everyone's life when they may regret certain things. That they should. Yeah, I know. I don't know what the to say. I didn't say this to you goddamn kid.
I understand that.
Well, no, you don't, because I'm making a videotape to some kid.
It's a work. It's a work. That's all it is. It's a work. We're working here. That's it.
I'm working here. There's 2 matches left. I'm working here making an apology for something I didn't do. This guy's really, whatever I supposed to have said to the guy, I wish I had said to the guy.
Me too. 3, 2.
There shall never come a time that any one of the WWE.
That blew my mind.
We're working. It's a fucking work. We're working here.
Yeah.
That was
incredible.
It's actually 3 minutes long, but because I was Snapchatting it to you, John, I couldn't get the full bifter. But mate, there's name of see, there's name no matter how many times you can watch it, but see that whole story about Warrior coming back, saying that promo, giving a promo about when somebody breathes their last breath, and then he fucking croaks it 2 days later. It still blows my mind.
I mean, it is. It's absolutely crazy when you think about it. I was talking about someone at work who's a wrestling fan as well, and we're just talking about how unbelievable it comes up, gets into the Hall of Fame, and then passes away like the next day. Madness.
There's it'll be interesting to see the Dark Side of the Ring this week is Warrior. And it's because the Warrior episode with Biography Channel was like, it was Dana Warrior. He's kind of, the wife that he was with when he died. And it was quite, it was emotional, but this is with the first wife.
Oh, really?
That side of the ring, you know what I mean? So it's a bit mental, but mate. I'm not burying it. I'm just putting over the documentaries because as a wrestling fan, honestly, tremendous.
Yeah. Fantastic. Let's get into the listeners and see what they're putting over this week. Put over from Stevie. They increased the possibility of another Kofi Kingston title run, Kofi Mania 2, if you like. Would be great to see it, especially after they done him in the way they did against Brock. Kofi for another title run, Grado?
I think Kofi's brilliant. As I say, I missed that title run, but obviously,
yeah.
It was
a shame the way it ended with Brock. I mean, he got totally buried by Brock, but I'm, I don't know if they need Kofi with the title on him, but
So what's happening? Is he being on Raw? What's
it's just mate,
I get awkward talking about this because I don't know what's happening.
Yeah. He's kind of number one contender at the moment for the title. Buddy, the end of Velveteen Dream not on being released, which WWE should have done yonks ago. Just the sad and frustrating circumstances of it all, and the fact that the guy looked like he was destined to be the one through it all because of some predatory behaviour and a rank-rotten attitude. Instead of being the next Rock or Cena, he chose to be a future episode of Dark Side of the Ring.
Wow, I never thought about it like that. The Dark Side of the Ring, that's a shout, but I can't agree with that guy anymore because
great
for
work.
what I saw in NXT, man, he was the man. I was like, this guy has got it.
Amazing look, great in the ring.
He's totally fucked it, and I can't see him. And nobody will touch him with a barge pole. So you're right. It's sad how it's ended up, but he's only got himself to blame, man. How could you love yourself? I don't know. He's bang on about that being a future That Side of the Ring episode. By the way, he's totally bang on.
It'll be interesting to see if he gets bookings elsewhere. That'll be the interesting part. He's always got lots of legal problems going on, but I'll be interested to see if he gets booked on the Indies or ends up at an Impact or whatever. Jamie says, put over Christopher Daniels for being 51 years old. He still looks fucking amazing.
He's the man. Chris Daniels is one of the nicest guys ever.
You worked him?
And I don't think I've worked him, but I've been on the same shows as him. He gave us a good bit of advice once. He kind of watched a match, and he gave me a good bit of advice when it came to selling.
Oh, really?
When I was making my comeback, and it just made no that way. You just go, why did I never think about that? It was just like, stop selling as much when you're blowing a comeback and somebody's striking you. Don't sell it too much. You're fucking Hulk Hogan at this point. You know what I mean? Don't sell it, shake it off. Do you know what I mean? And go for it in for the full pelt. And it was just that was in Ayrton Hall as well. And he pulled us aside and said that. So I still keep in touch with him now and again. And he genuinely is one of the nicest guys ever.
Brilliant. And Jamie says, Buddy, the lack of puns on the show these days. Don't worry, Jamie.
Mate,
puns are back next week with the locations and wrestling. Matt says, Buddy, the Wolves.
I've got one.
Oh, go.
Oh, no, it's Fitba, kind of.
Oh, it's okay, it's fine.
Ricky Green at Martin.
well, that's fine.
I'll take that.
There you go. Right, Matt says, Buddy, the Wolves fan who wore a Fiend mask to their last home game, put over the same Wolves fan who went full hog and wore the gloves as well to complete the outfit. All about the detail, I guess. Did you see that picture, Grado?
No. Was it for 1991? No, I never saw it. No.
It's on our Wrestling Daft Twitter right now.
Okay.
You can see the man at the final Wolves game of the season dressed as the Fiend. Quite incredible. Bronze Cello, friend of the show and does the Mark show as well. Put over the Warrior documentary by WWE. Loved the rare footage. The airport story when it went nuts to a kid. Vince's letter he wrote and gave him at SummerSlam 91 when he suspended him, and the unreleased footage of him singing on the Slam Jam track. There's two sides to every coin. We'll be watching the Dark Side of the Ring Ultimate Warrior this weekend. And Bury, Arden and Virk, we hardly knew you. This is, if you haven't heard, Grado, Arden and Virk was on commentary for Raw for 3 weeks and has been binned off already.
So was he that bad? I take it he didn't
He
know.
Wasn't good. He wasn't
See,
good.
that's a shame, man. But I don't get why they do that. I really don't.
We were talking about this on the March show. It's like, this guy's come from a sports background, so I don't know what he called. I thought it was baseball or American football or whatever. But it's like putting someone like Archie McPherson into wrestling commentary. I would pay good money to see Archie doing, or Jonathan. I always thought Jonathan Pierce, because he used to do Robot Wars.
He was great. Jonathan Pierce would be great. We should go him to the World of Sport. Fuck.
Yeah, get Jonathan Pierce on the wrestling.
Do you remember who was the geezer that they got years ago and he called folk Jeff Harvey and all that? Remember him?
Oh fuck, mate! The battle through it.
Remember there was rumours back in the day about Mike Goldberg, the old UFC commentator as well. He was going to turn up in Raw. I remember that, following that closely, and he was going to be at Raw, and something kind of fell apart. But I don't get why they don't go for it. I think they don't like kind of wrestling fans. They like taking folk that are already shaped as presenters.
It's not a whole established. We are a sports brand.
It's like Radzi that I met the other week when I was filming something. He done backstage interviewing with WWE, But he's good. He's good. He does a lot of work for like the Olympics and snooker and stuff like that. And I think he got because of the COVID, he had to get. He was. That he was. I don't know if he was under contract. However, he's no longer there. But that's the kind of guys they're looking for. They're looking for, that have got a background about sports and journalism, and they've not got that wrestling mind, so that they can be shaped a lot easier than what it would be than having some fucking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, Mark doing it, but I don't know.
I'll be back to Tom Phillips, but I'm saying let's get the campaign. Billy fucking Kirkwood for Raw. There we go.
Oh, could you imagine?
That would be amazing. That would be amazing. Wow. Sean's putting over JR being honest in his opinion about the best wrestler and not just going for a company guy. I've missed this. Do you know anything about JR being saying something about the best wrestler?
No, I don't know. I mean, I usually listen to his podcast, but no, I'm just the Jeff Jarrett podcast is something else, mate.
The Jeff Jarrett. If you do listen to our wrestling podcast, listen to the Jeff Jarrett podcast. It's fucking brilliant. It's really, really good.
But the best thing about JR is he is honest, and I love it when he's crab it. See when he comes on and he starts fucking moaning about if he's missed his flight or he's some woman at the airport's questioned if wrestling's fake or not, and he's crab at Arse JR is totally the best. So he doesn't hold back with all JR, man.
I just can't handle I'm talking about his boner though, like where he's promoting Blue Chew on his program and he's fucking talking about this fucking. No, I don't need that. I don't need that image in my head. He's burying all Omega and Elite fans crying about it. Although I
take it he's had some difference of opinion.
I think it's just childish distraction. I need to catch up on that. Sorry, Sean. John is burying AEW's women's division just when they think they're getting somewhere. They go back the way. I think they're going to put the belt on Britt Baker this weekend at Double or Nothing, and I think she'll be able to carry it. She's brilliant. If you ever get to check Grado, go and check out Britt Baker stuff. I don't know if you've seen much of her.
Britt's brilliant. She's brilliant.
Yeah,
she's brilliant. She was in all of the AIW shows when I was in America. She's brilliant. She's she goes out with Adam Cole, does she?
Adam Cole, she does, and she's been fantastic on AIW. Put over Aleister Black returning, just short, sweet, and all in the details. That's going to be good. Aleister Black fighting Big E going forward, and he looks good. And you've worked with obviously when he was Tommy End in ICW, but listen, he's just as well. Rab's not here.
Let's leave this to Rabbi. He can speak about him next week. He put him over a couple of weeks ago, was he not?
Yeah, no, he's good, and the gimmick will be interesting. See what it comes back with. Willie's putting over the Hana Kimura Memorial the other day. Very classy tribute and a fun show. Buddy dumb wrestlers saying dumb things on dumb Twitter, especially Austin Aries and Ryback. Yeah.
You see, this is. I mean, I know people don't disagree with them, but this is what wrestling's all about. See the kind of.
Is it
Ryback's Twitter? I love it. I love Ryback's Twitter.
Is it a work?
Austin Aries doesn't work. Austin Aries doesn't work.
No, wasted Austin. But is Ryback working? I love the going back a couple of weeks where he's like, what should I do next? Should I go to WWE, AEW or retire? Brilliant. And he kept rerunning the poll.
Love it. Love it.
It was fucking brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
I loved it.
And Ian finally saying, bury myself for not watching wrestling in weeks, and put over the Brian Pillman episode of Dark Side of the Ring. So sad hearing Brian Jr.'s side of it all. And that is your Brian put overs for this week. It's the part of the show which we do a running Grado, we invite listeners, but sometimes we like to have special guests on. And remember Rab a couple of weeks ago said, Davey Blaze is having a baby. We need to get Davey on to have a chat. You two can talk dad stuff. Well,
that's right.
Gone and invited on. So welcome to the show, Mr. Davey Blaze.
The man himself.
What do you want to do tonight, sir?
Oh, mate, I love it already. Right.
Wait,
there he is.
How did it?
Oh, Blaze, I forgot about that one.
Oh, mate, give me some knuckles, mate.
Give me some. No seen you forever, mate. I've missed you.
Mate, we're going to be dads, mate.
I know what I thought you were. Do you know? I feel bad right for saying this, but I thought you were fabbing at first because I feel as if that would be a thing that you would go like, I'm going to noise up Facebook tonight. Don't take that the wrong way. But do you know that way? Was there anybody else? Was there anybody else that messaged you saying the same thing?
Mate, I swear to God, I had about fucking. I must have had about 30 folk going like that. You're at it. You're ribbing us. I was like, mate. I'm like, you think I'm fucking Hugh Hefner, mate? You think I'm going to do the Montreal Screwjob? I was like, fuck's sake, it's like I've got somebody pregnant.
Well, that's good, mate. So I don't know if you want to get into it, but you with a lassie or whatever, or is everything all right?
I'm not weird, but I've known her
Right.
for over 10 years.
All right, okay.
Mate, it was just like up, man. Christmas, boom, flight knuckle.
Oh, was it
shuffle.
Christmas Day?
Aye, well, Christmas night. right down the chimney.
Oh, Blaze, man. What you like? Mate,
yeah.
well, do you know what? When's the wedding due?
19th, between the 16th and the 19th of September, mate.
Brilliant. That's earlier than mine's is November.
Have you done a gender reveal, Davey?
It's a wee boy.
Oh, brilliant.
When did you find it?
Well, she told us, what was it, a couple of months obviously into her finding it. So I had the pure shock king. I was like, oh fuck. I was like, right, no bother. But she was just like, so what do you think of this? Are you fearting all that? And I says, well, look, I've shat the bed a bit. I says, one Davey Blaze on the book, man, that's bad enough. Imagine two of them. It'll be like fucking Legion of Doom.
Well, Davey, you know what you've done.
Without the hiding right.
They've just had Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio father-son tag team.
There you go.
This is ICW's first father-son tag team.
I'll just batter the wee boy. I'm like that, right, mate, on the shoulders. Hot tag, man. 619, that dafty.
Blaze, I need to say about what do you want to do tonight, sir? Explain what that is for like a British. Explain what that's. Tell the story when the one night when I kind of took the piss at that, didn't we?
So mate, we've been taking the piss at it, man, for I think nearly a decade now, mate. But basically, the whole thing between me and Grado going, what do you want to do tonight, sir? Is basically we were on a show, right, and there was an import on the show, and I think we were, what was it? Was it an ICW show or something, Grado? I can't mind. But me and Grado are sitting there, and this guy walks here to this mad import he was wrestling. He goes like that. He goes, hey brother. And he goes, what do you want to do tonight? And he goes, no, what do you want to do tonight, sir?
Because see, John, honestly, I would say about 95% of British wrestlers when they get paired off with working a yank, don't they? It's always the same, innit? You see them nervous, right, and their horns are all like off, man. They're sweating gravy, and you see them walk up to them and they go, "Oh, hey, you have a good flight? Didn't they? It's always, did you have a good flight? Was your flight good? Yeah. What do you want to do tonight, sir?
Did you have a good sleep in the Premier Inn tonight, sir?
Davey, have you wrestled any yanks? Have you watched it? You must have wrestled.
Oh, mate, I'll tell you what. See, before he starts, I stopped wrestling, I think, 2007, and I never went to any British wrestling show, and I'll tell you what blew my mind. Listen to this. I went to a show in Kilmarnock and watched Davey Blaze work Kevin Nash.
Fuck, did you work in Ash?
Mate, at 16, I was only a year and a half into make my wrestling debut, and I was the BCW Tag Team Champion. The first company that ever booked me was BCW. The first company that ever gave me my title, BCW. And then boom, import, man, big sexy Diesel, the man himself, fucking the big Russian at the Punisher and all that. Aye, big king.
And by the way, he bumped for you and everything, didn't he?
Oh, aye, mate. Big
John,
man.
I'm telling you, he had his working boots on that night. I'm telling you, fucking bumping out like that, wasn't he, Blaze?
Aye, mate, I'm telling you, mate, it was hilarious, man. There's a point, I keep talking about it, right? There's a point in the match where I'm trying to like get him into the ring to cheat, right? And I'm like, this fucking big prick's making me work harder, man. I was like, fuck it. So I've learned to like kind of spit in the corner of the ring, mate, and I've just groggered, like went, oh, poof, and it's landed on his red pleather trousers.
What?
Mate, and he's looked at me like this. Yeah, he's just jammed right into the ring, man. I was like, oh, don't hit me. I thought he was going to rip me off, mate.
You were 16 and you worked Kevin Nash.
Wow.
16 now, and I worked Kevin Nash, mate.
Did you take the powerbomb, Davey?
No, I was wanting to take a jackknife, man. It was like me, Stevie, and Chris Rampage up here fighting there at backstage. We're like, mate, who's taking it? And fucking kid fights gone like that, man. You need to calm it down, man. Hide your ragers.
But it's always the same, when you're on a show with Rikishi, man, you're in a match, you want the stink face. Every cunt's thinking of the stink face. Bags of the stink face. Bags
of the stink face. Mate, I get told about his mad fucking...
Who's taking the one? Me!
No, mate. Grado, remember the time it was me and Martin Kirby versus you and Al Snow?
Oh, mate!
Mate, and
I
done the mad Scotty too hot thing.
Aye. By the way, do you know what? That was honestly, John. See Al Snow when he comes out here, man. All he does is, you see that match I done with Spud and TNA where we done all the finishers.
Yeah.
That's what he does, didn't he, Blaze? He's got this whole sequence and it's fucking brilliant. It's like F you into the fucking somebody.
It's the fucking the pedigree. Pedigree. The Scotty too hotty, and then he gets heed. And then fucking...
It's honestly, and the crowd love it, man. The crowd love it.
That's brilliant. That is
who else have you worked on? I'm trying to think as well. You've had fucking loads.
I've worked Kevin Nash, Al Snow, MVP. I've worked Joey Legend. That's a laugh. I'll give you a laugh at him in a minute. Fucking who else?
Have you always gone with them?
I've worked obviously the Godfather and ICW. The Dudley Boys put through a table of fame. Fucking mate, there's hunters, man. I've peeled. I think I need to go back and look at my mad Word document for my CV that I send out.
Your CV. Do you know? I think it's funny. I think Blaze, in fucking 40 years' time, you'll be sitting in a boozing, man. I used to do a bit of the wrestling. And fucking mind the Dudley Boys. They put me through a table and can't look. Aye, all right, check that, Dafty.
Well, wear my catheter bag with a pair of Linsdale tuners on.
Remember, I got snake skin boots.
It's like that. No bother cactus Jack. No, I says no.
Jakey Snake, you went. No Jakey Snake. All right, Jakey Snake.
That's like that. When's Jakey Snake? It's like when's Jakey Snake back in his boots back?
Yeah, Davey, you've not been doing any of the ICW stuff at the moment, have you? I've not seen it pop up.
No, mate. Obviously, I think there was nothing. I think there was nothing really going for me at that point. But I've got something happening with UWM out in Dubai.
Oh wow!
Nice.
I'm Chick Cullen got that sorted, and so I'll be heading out there soon.
Oh, fantastic!
So I'm heavy buzzing for that, man. I'm going to get and go out to where I'm at Dubai cunts about that. Yeah, I get put through the table after Dudley's.
Davey, I don't think you going to Dubai is a good idea. There's certain rules that you need to stick by in Dubai.
Mate, I'm barred for Spain, man. I was on my brother's stag do, and I missed the whole stag do just because I ran out 2 motors, and I get chased, and then I was in 3 different jails, and then missed my flight on the Monday. I appeared in front of a judge in a Spanish court, and the only word that I knew was "por favor." I just kept going, "Por favor, please, por favor."
I didn't know that.
Oh, mate, I've just started writing a book, man. Dark Side of the Ring by Davey Blaze. It's going to go in there, mate.
But, right, a tip, if you're going to Dubai, don't mess with the Emiratis, Davey. Don't take the piss out of them. Don't do anything with the Emiratis.
Here, do you know what I need to say? But right, I'll tell you what, man. See how, as I say this all the time, my brother hated the wrestling, but he loved coming to ICW, and he fucking loved the Bucky Boys, man. See me think back 10 years ago when it first started, and you and Stevie and we knew, man, it was brilliant. It was tremendous.
Mate, and that was the brilliant thing about it, man, right? It was like you had the ICW originals, you had me and Stevie, the Bucky Boys, yourself, Grado, Jester, BT, Wolfie, Kid Fight, Liam Thompson, right? But it was like Nene's got steel. So everything that we were doing, we were changing through the years, and it was just evolving. Do you know what I mean? I'll never forget the face, man. Fucking Dallas. I think it was the first ICW tour, and it was leading into the SCCC. I thought Dallas nearly had a stroke when I put this idea towards him, man. He just looking at me, and I was like, mate, you all right? He's like, mate, the Bucky boys are no splitting up. And I went, how no? And he's like that. Because he's our money, man. He's our money. He's like, he's killing it on the merch. He's like, I can't have he's breaking up. Right. So I was like, look, give a chance. I says, it's not that we feel like we're getting stale or anything else. I went, just give a chance. I went, because we want to have a spot on the NCCC. Because this was at the time where Dallas was like, if you want to go on the big shows, you need to make sure that you've got a storyline worth going on, blah, blah, blah. So I said to, me and Stevie says to Dallas, why don't you give Glasgow at the garage this big like kind of breakup? I says, because like everywhere that we do in the UK, it's like Liverpool, they get big stuff. Newcastle, they get big stuff. So I says, nothing's really happened in Glasgow. I says, let's give them this big split up. I went, they'll not even expect it. And I swear, Grado, I think you were there that night, weren't you?
Aye, I think I was at Orem. I was at I was at the split, and I was at when you came back. I was in the ring when you came back with the Bucky Boys as well.
Aye, and it was, mate, I'd see the split, man. You'd see when I watch it back till this very day, man. I think there's people having heart attacks and all that in the crowd. Aye. And it's just, everybody's fucking losing their shit.
You know what would be good? I think would be good to one day with ICW do a show, and it's like a kind of not a tribute show, right, as such, but like a fucking. Do you know the way they do it on Raw anniversary and all that, and we do an ICW show, and it's all the older gimmicks, and you know it's no taped because we want to use the music and just have like a pure old school ICW night.
That would be BBW one night stand kind of idea.
Mate, that would be dynamite, mate.
Want it? Wait, so what's happening in the future then? What's your plans for the next year, mate?
Well, plans for next year, mate. Obviously, I'm going to let go to the B-Man. He's going to be born this year, so I've got a lot of things and a lot of focus onto him. But you still get your flat?
Still got the flat, mate. I'm just up at my mum and dad's to use the laptop. But aye, mate, do that. Once the wee man's born, obviously spend a bit of time with him. So I'll take a bit of stuff out. If the only time that I'll be going away, if it's need be with wrestling, at that point is if it's something big, if it's something worth doing. Because I don't want to let no be there and spend time with him, do you know what I mean? So, but other than that, going into next year, hopefully this UWN thing picks off, and I can go out there and just start heavy going off and up, man. In a good environment.
Right, mate. Well, Blaze, it's been amazing to see you, mate. Honestly, I miss hanging about you, mate. I miss being at shows with you and stuff.
We need to get a couple of drinks before the rains are here, man.
He's better. I'll tell you, see, as a dad, boys, I'm going to tell you this right now. It's a bit of a nightmare because of lockdown. There's a couple of bits of advice I can give you. Go to some nice restaurants before you have the wedding, because you're going to be eating Frankie and fucking Benny's for the next fucking however long.
I hate Frankie and Benny's.
I'm going to be
that's where you're eating for the next wee while. Go to the cinema, because you'll know all you're going to be seeing is animated penguins for the next fucking 5-6 years as well.
Hey, mate, I'm going to be like Arnold Schwarzenegger at a kindergarten cop. Is not tumor. Put the cookie down now.
But listen, Davey, all the best. I'm sure we'll speak to you before. I think this is your hat trick on the show. So,
mate, I think it's maybe the fourth time.
Is that?
I don't think I've been on with you every time you're on. I've not been here.
I know, mate. I was starting to think that I've done something wrong to offend you.
I'm starting to get paranoid. How did I miss these shows? Was it just off, John?
You were just off.
I was Blaze my replacement.
Davey, all the best, mate. Thanks for coming on. Really,
no worries, guys. Cheers for having me.
Keep in touch, please, mate. All the best, pal.
Love you, bro.
Mate. See you later on, John. See you later, bud. See you later, pal.
And if you want to be in the running, like Davey, sometimes just invite guests. I think we'll have a listener back on next week. Get signed up to our Patreons. That's the best way to do it, because the heavyweight champs get first dibs, IC champs, then cruiserweight champs. You can get doing that right now, patreon.com/wrestling daft.
You just made the list!
Now we go to the List of Wrestling Daft. It isn't just a magazine that you can pick up in the shop. I don't know if you can still get the list, where you can check out the comedy and gigs and all that. I used to be able to pick that up. But anyway, we love the list on Wrestling Daft. Not that list, but the list we do every week when we take some in wrestling, put it in order, and that's what we do every week. You can vote on what you want us to feature on the list at patreon.com/wrestling daft, and our plug for that. This week it was the closest vote yet, Grado. We put up, because I know you're a belt mark, right? I thought I want to give Grado the chance to talk about belts, because I know you love belts. And so we put that up against the best cage matches, because Hell in a Cell is not far away. 51% of the vote, just by a ball here, they went for the belts. So
I'm delighted with that. I would have been raging if the cage match thing came up.
I knew you would.
Mate, John, you're so right, man. I am a fucking mega mark for the belts. Mega mark for the belts. I'd say since I'd say maybe about mid-2000s, when I remembered because I think WCW could sell replica belts. They were the first. I could be wrong. Somebody would clear it up. And I was desperate to get one. Desperate to get a WCW one. I would get it.
Do you want the big gold?
Bag.
Do you want the big gold?
Well, I'll wait, because I want to tell you my surprises,
okay.
right? However, in the mid let me tell my wee story.
Okay.
In the mid 2000s, okay, the WWF ones were released, and John, fucking was obsessed with them. ReplicaWrestlingBelts.com, WWF replica belts, searching into eBay. I was obsessed with me. I used to make my own belts. I'd go daft for them, and for 2 years I wanted a belt. My mum and dad were like, "There's no way we are paying £150 for a fucking stupid belt." That's the way they went on. But we eventually, I think it was the end of 2002. There was the Scotsman models in Glasgow. They were doing replica belts, and I'd never even seen a replica belt before. And I remember getting up. I've probably told this story before, have I?
Yeah, is this when you're this for Christmas? Is it?
Aye, right. Well, I've told it before, but anyway, as I say, the one of the Scotsman models. WWF Undisputed belt was there. It wasn't my favourite, but it was just, I just wanted one.
Oh, that's the Undisputed title belt.
I've still got it. I seen it the other day, and it's in my heart. And I remember just my mum going, absolutely no, but she ended up winking to the guy behind the thing where he put one by. And so I remember waking up on Christmas Day, and I went, honestly, I swear to God, that to this day, that's still my favourite, ultimate, best present is the Undisputed belt, getting that on Christmas Day. I remember putting it on UKF and everything. But even now, mate, I was texting you the other day, wasn't I?
Yeah,
a belt, because I want one again. But this is what's happening, John. Right, it's the weirdest thing. See, because I've been away for wrestling, like stuff that I got so desensitized to is coming back. Like I remember like being like obviously in TNA and seeing the belts at the table and going like that, man. God, if this was me 10, 15 years ago, I'd be fucking, I'd be greeting about it. I can't believe I'm getting touched belts. Don't get me wrong, right? There's a big thing they say in wrestling, don't be a mark for the belts, don't be taking pictures of them, whatever. Fuck that, man. I used to, honestly. I remember Sanjay was in charge of the belts one weekend, so he had the TNA belt and he had the X Division belt, and fucking man, I've got photos with it. And then backstage at Wembley, I had the tag titles. I was going nuts for it. But anyway, that's I'm kind of talking too much here. But anyway, I'll tell you my top three, right? And then number three is going to be the big gold belt. However, it's the late 1999 2000 version where the front plate is not curved, and it doesn't. It's a kind of different belt. It's weird if you go back and watch it. There is definitely a difference in the belts, and I can't wait because Conrad is going to. He does a thing for the Patreon. I sign up to his Patreon, right? And he's got belts. He's got amazing belts. He's got stories behind him. What he does,
he collects them, doesn't he?
He collects them, man. He's got crackers. But for me, it was the WCW version later on the year. The kind of spiced up big gold belt that they had with the wee bend in it. So that's my number three.
Right. Okay. Number two.
Number two. This is close between 2 and 1, but for me, the first belt that I really, really wanted, and I've always loved it, and I think it just looks classy. It looks like a traditional wrestling belt but it's the WCW US title belt.
Right. That's the I'm just trying to think how that sat. Was that just the flag?
It sat similar to the old Intercontinental with the American flag in the middle, and it had WCW then US title. It's the one when I think about it, I think of Booker T, I think of Steve Austin with it.
Yeah.
I think of Steamboat with it. In fact, did Austin have the US title? I can't think, maybe never. But if that belt for me, it's just that is a wrestling belt. That is a wrestling belt.
Right, okay. And what's number one?
Number one, without a doubt, people might disagree, but for me, it's just all about memories, and I've never recovered for them changing this belt, but for me, it is the WWF Attitude Era, the Globe belt. Is that what they call it? They call it the Globe, didn't they?
Is it the Globe?
The Globe belt. No, it's not the put it this way, it's not the Winged Eagle. It's the one we think about with The Rock, Stone Cold, Kurt Angle. That for me, man, is they'll never ever beat that belt. I love it. Just the whole. When I think about WrestleMania 2001, and I think of Rock and Austin, and I tell you, if I was ever going to invest and buy a replica belt, I'd get that one. I fucking just love it. What's yours?
£270 at the moment, Grado. £270.
Well, you see, but that's no. I would want it real leathered, and I would want thick plates. Mate, do you know that? I'm sure. Conrad, he's collecting belts. Ric Flair lost. Sorry, he had a pair of Ric Flair's boots, and the WWF warehouse guy asked if he could get a line in them for Access Weekend, and he gave them, and the guy lost them. Right, and he's for months and months and months. He says, "I'll repay you," and he ended up sending him the WWF, the original belt for the Globe belt, and Conrad worked out that it was the one that was used at WrestleMania 17, the very exact one.
Really? Wow. Amazing. Wow. I think for me,
why am I so in it? Why am I in it so much? I mean, I love
know,
watching unboxing videos and shit like that.
A lot of wrestling fans are into the belts.
Don't get me wrong. I hate seeing them at shows. Seeing them at shows. I can't go that.
You wouldn't wear it to a show.
That, but
put up on your.
And I hate even seeing it on TV.
Because
it just takes away for the mystique of winning it. I don't mind you having it in your room, but don't take it to shows, man.
Right, okay, so there's some advice for Grado. If you've got a belt, do not take them to the shows. I think for me, I've got to go traditional, the IC belt, not the kind of the white attitude, one that they kind of brought back. The traditional Honky Tonk Man, Ultimate Warrior, Bret Hart, IC with the globe in the middle, the gold plating. I love that belt. I was always a fan of the IC belt as opposed to the heavyweight kind of scene back in the 80s and early 90s, so I'd have that. It'd be
cool.
Let's check what the punters are saying. Steve says probably an unpopular choice, but I love the eco-friendly WWE Championship Daniel Bryan had. Fit his heel Eco Warrior character perfectly.
Nah. I'm not
nah.
buying that.
Nah, I hated that.
I'm not buying that.
Horrible.
How can anybody pick that as their favourite?
Kev says the WWE agrees with you. WCW US and TV titles were great. NWA World's Heavyweight Championship always looked a bit special. The WWF Hardcore Belt was also cool. Did you like the Hardcore Belt? I liked the Hardcore Belt.
I think Jester had the Hardcore Belt, aye. But do you know what? No, I'm laughing when I read TV title. I remember going to a BCW show before I suppose it was just when I was training, and I was obsessed with the WCW TV title, and the promoter fucking put up for a raffle, John, right? And I mean, I'm talking like a fucking £1.50 raffle. And I remember it getting drawn, and I bought about 5 or 6 tickets, and it got drawn, and like just this random fucking woman in her 50s for like Kilmarnock won it, and I was like, "I'll give you £20 for this," and she was like, "No," I couldn't get away, like I couldn't get it. That I had always wanted one of these belts, and a random woman won it at the Grand Hall in Kilmarnock, and she's fucking walking out the room with her shoulder. I was,
So I'm kicking about Kilmarnock to this day.
Aye.
With the TV belt around there. Brett, I have 2, but I'm going with a British title and a US title. 2 are my favourites are the black and white 0G title and the original ECW world title.
I like that as well.
Yeah. Always the WWF Scottish Wrestling Network. Always the WWF European Championship.
The big eagle. It's not the big globe. I'm just reading. It's the big eagle.
Yeah. Dean says, personally, the Smoking Skull belt was always my favourite. That would have probably been Rab's number one, I'm guessing. Though the NXT UK belt is a modern belt that reeks of prestige, I have to say that NXT UK belt is an absolute belter.
That's a cracker.
It's the best looking title.
And I'm not a big fan of the Smoking Skull. I've never been a fan of like the Cena spinner and the Edge and all that. I've never.
What about the Brahma Bull one?
Nah, I mean, he never even used it, did he?
No, he didn't really. No,
I don't think he used it. No.
I'll get some stick for this, but I love the hardcore belt. It says Scott. I think that belt perfectly sums up what the division was all about. Close second is the WWE Global title. Just reminds me of my childhood and how wrestling was better back then. CJ says Attitude Era IC title for me. Design gets a lot of hate, but I've always loved it. Kyle says big fan of the £10 of gold. NWA heavyweight title. Simple yet looks classy. Also a fan of the old IWGP heavyweight title before the redesign.
That's a shout. That's a shout for the NWA title.
The new redesign looks a bit like the old Divas Championship. It's not the best. CC Will says the CCW Wired title was a cracker.
God, that's taking me back. Jesus.
I can't even picture that one. Big Gold says Sean. Now, I think this is a wrestler, but he's on Twitter. He's called Far Too Bored. I have a soft spot for the PWE tag team titles, but I might be massively biased on this one. The BCW Championship is probably one of the most iconic title belts in Scotland, worldwide. BCW, have you held that one, Grado?
I think what did I do again? There was something where I don't know, there's something where I think I won it or something, and then it get changed. I can't remember. I've never been a BCW champion, but if we're going to talk about British belts, the BCW is a cracker. The PBW one's nice as well, but personally see the one that I've got the PWE World title, which is based on the £10 gold one that you see that I usually have sitting in the background. Yeah, that is a classic belt.
Yeah,
that's a classic belt, man.
Yeah. Gav says the IC Championship 2011 to 2019. That's the white one. Harks back to the 85-97 version with a better shape. And Andy leaves us off with the Winged Eagle belt, not really for the looks, but the fact that it was the title for so long that if you want it, you wear the same belt as the Legends did before you. The undisputed title looked cool as fuck. As well.
See the Winged Eagle as well. I remember, obviously, I had the other belt for a wee while. And then see when I turned 16, I got £90 a week working for, in fact, was it £90 a week or was it £90 a fortnight? So I get 2 pies for McDonald's, where it was weekly or fortnightly. And I ended up with, this was the first time I ever had money. So I had £180 in the bank. And I remember just straight away, my first ever wage, I bought the Winged Eagle WWF title off eBay.
You still got it?
I had it for about 2 years. No, I sold it, which I'm raging about.
Oh, man. Well, you've got plenty of money now, Grado. Get yourself on and get a new one. I mean, Grado, you've been around the industry. How do you go about getting a belt? I mean, have you considered it for the pavilion shows? How do you go about getting a belt made? Do you go to a designer? How does the whole process work?
Well, I'd say 15 years ago, it was hard to actually get a belt. There was kind of guys that were doing belts and the quality was crap. It was kind of like tin, but they were custom made and they looked no bad, but they were about £150 to £200. But you really, if you wanted a right tidy belt, you'd go to Dave Milliken, or is it Jamar? What's his name? Is it Jamar Belts? But no, man, there's loads of folk and I reckon it's because they loved replica belts when they're Waynes and they've actually learned how to craft belts together. Wow. There's a guy in Aberdeen that makes belts, and here's one. He made a belt for, see the All Bravehearts promotion that we talk about, All Braveheart up in Dundee for SWE. This guy made that, and it's a fucking screamer, John. It's a screamer of a belt. But you really, it'll set you back about $2 or $3 grand to get an absolute cracker.
Wow.
It really will. The ICW had one that was made, the ICW title, I'm sure was at first shit quality. But the week before the SEC show with me and Drew, they got it made professionally, like as in so the same template, and they got it made, and it looks shit hot. I mean, looks tremendous.
Yeah.
You're one. I would. You need to have a good belt.
Yeah. Well, do you know what? I think we're going to get that sorted. I'd love to get a belt maker on the running.
Wrestling Daft belt.
Oh, we need to get a Wrestling Daft belt. That's what we need, so we can once we start promoting shows and that. But I know we need to get a belt maker on the running. So I love that. But thanks for all your contributions for that. Great shout. It's time for another Wrestling Daft Road story. I'm going to have to substitute for Rab and bring out my acting skills again because I've already read the story. So Grado will have to play the part of reacting to it. I'm going to pretend to be a wrestler again. I'll be the new wrestler in the car with the veteran himself, Grado, as we're on our way back from the show. So
step into the motor.
Let's get in the motor. Here we go. Did I do okay in the ring today, Mr. Grado? Did I do all right?
What to do tonight, sir? Oh, mate, stick in. Just I'd work on your cardio, brother.
Cardio, yeah. Okay. Any other advice? Did you like my finishing move?
What was that again?
It was a kind of reverse pile driver off the top rope and flipped at the end. That was.
Mate. I'm no fucking taking it.
Right, okay. I call it the John Hammer. Oh yeah, listen, I'd like to tell you a story because Mr. Grado, I want to impress you, and I think.
Right, okay. I get that quite a lot,
Yeah. So I'm a student. I don't know if you know, I was a student at Edinburgh Uni, and I shared a flat with my friend Sean Callaghan. And for the purpose of the story, that is actually his name. So, in the flat, we used to play pranks. So, ribs on each other, you're pranking on each other.
Okay.
Throwing cold water over each other. The air horns waking up each other with that. Basically, we made each other's life hell with the pranks we played. It was all about the ribs in the flat. We felt like we're own heart. All that sort of stuff.
Okay.
So we decided after a wee while this stuff wasn't really affecting us. It was kind of child's play. So we came up with a game, and it was called Hide the Shite. Okay. So I think you can imagine what the idea of the game was, Grado. But you had a shite, you hid it, and then you told your pal when it was done. It was then their job to find the shite in the flat as quick as possible. Okay. So basically this started, fun and games. So I started the game and put one in his Fitball boot, and then he followed that up with putting one in my shoe, and each time, it would be over pretty quickly, you'd find it within an hour, maybe a couple of hours, It went on for a couple of months, and we were asking ourselves, is it clatty? Aye, it was, aye. Was it disgusting? Aye, it was, but did we have fun? No, not really, but we still continued to do it. So basically, Sean really stepped up to the plate one day and really stepped up the game. Took it, I would say, a bit too far, Grado, because he put the shite in my pillowcase. And so when I was going to my bed that night, I obviously found it while I was trying to get to sleep. And I'm thinking to myself, this has gone too far. What kind of pal puts shite in your pillowcase? But at the same time, I was thinking, I'm getting this prick back. So it took me a wee bit of while to think of how I could top this, right? But I found a place, I'll tell you, I found a place. I just told him, it's done. Move on a day. Move on 2 days. 3 days later, still had not been found. A new world record and hide the shite had been accomplished. Quite happy with myself. However, 2 weeks pass, and he's asking me, did you actually hide the shite? And I'm like, aye. Every other shite by this point had been found by accident, but this point, he's taking his time and hunting the flat high and low to find the shite. All over the flat, he's far and wide, up and down cupboards, under beds. He is looking for this shite, right? And now he's getting pretty pissed off because he's not found it.
Right.
So we're coming up to a month now. the shite has still not been found, okay? Still no shite found. So one day we're at the breakfast table and we're sitting having, you know, our toast or cereal and what have you. And Sean went to spread the butter on his toast. However, when he was applying the butter to said bit of toast, it started to turn a little bit brown. The shite had been found. Yes, sir, I had planted the shite in a tub of butter and no one had got to it. So basically, the Shanner takes a scrap and we haven't gone to a scrap. We decide then the game is officially over. Sean gets married in July, however, and I'm part of the wedding party. And he ate my shite, but we're still pals.
Oh, that's fucking bogging. I bet he got worms.
Well, if you go back to an old episode of Wrestling Daft, you'll find that story. Yeah.
Aye, that could be Wrestling Daft merch. I quite like that story. Hide the shite.
Hide the shite. So,
hide the shite, and we get it. We mock it off another like WWF logo, like the King of the Ring. Hide the shite.
So thank you very much for Stephen McCabe for providing
that was good. That's a good
like that. There was no sex or it.
They come just shite.
Just shite today. If you want to get a Wrestling Daft's road story into us, we'd really appreciate it. They're flooding in, so thank you so much for that. But we'll want to keep them coming in because they're absolutely popping us every week. So drop us a DM on Twitter at Wrestling Daft, on Facebook, or you can drop it on our email, wrestlingdaft@gmail.com. So that's it for Wrestling Daft this week. We missed Drab, but like we always say, card subject to change. He'll be back next week, he promises. He's just really busy doing this sitcom at the moment. Grado, however, is about to start filming his sitcom, so fingers crossed we get Grado on. There might be some pokery over the next couple of weeks.
There could be, just kind of bear ways, because obviously for a year there we've been doing absolutely F4 and everything's all coming at the one time, so we're going to try and be able to get on top of it, but hopefully Rab's back next week with a couple of stories for being on set with Jess and that.
We'll get some surprise guest marks
aye.
on as well. Grado, who's going to be a listener of the week?
Listener this week,
I think we should give it to Colin Mack, and do you know why I think that? Because poor Vinnie Mac didn't get his happy birthday sang to him at the rest. So Colin Mack and Vinnie Mac.
See, there you go. That's better than getting me to shout happy birthday to you. You're now listener of the week, me man.
There you go. If you want to get in touch with the show, you can do that. Get us on Twitter, get us on Instagram, get us on Facebook. Please leave a review and subscribe on Apple, wherever you get your podcast. Sign up to Patreon, give us some money, you know, we can keep the show going. There's lots of great content up there. We're going to get some extra bonus podcasts up there really, really soon. So patreon.com/Wrestling Daft. There's t-shirts and that as well. You can get face masks, you can get phone covers, you can get Grado bum bags, you can get Wrestling Daft bum bags, for fuck's sake. Get that. Get involved. shop.spreadshirt.co.uk/Wrestling Daft. That's it for this week's show. Thank you very much, Grado. I've enjoyed your stories this week.
Aye, I was in the mood for telling a wee story or two, so there you have it.
We didn't have much TNA chat, which was just a bit disappointing.
Well, you know what? It's I know we don't like plugging, but I'm part of that fucking Patreon to get Jeff Jarrett's podcast early, and they're talking about how it came about, and obviously I'm all over it.
Oh, I thought you might.
I'm all over it, man. Yeah. I'm just so glad to have been part of fucking.
You're just waiting for
the best company in the world to come out of Nashville, Tennessee. What?
You're just waiting for that mention on the Jeff Jarrett. You've already been mentioned on the Jeff Jarrett podcast.
Aye, but
when he gets into the.
Just wait till they review Slammiversary 2017 or something like that. You know what
I mean? So yes, thank you very much for listening. I've not got a catchphrase, so you just do yours.
Up I know it.
That's not your catchphrase.
It's yourself.
There you go.
Audio Frontier.